All the best as usual. We'll speak to you very soon.
No problem.
All right. Hope the legs feel better.
I'll try the penis thing.
Please do.
No problem. Bye.
BBC6 Music.
That's a track featured on an album called Folk Funk Flavours, which has lots of nude people on the cover. Part of the reason I bought it. But annoyingly, absolutely no. Just be honest. Just be honest if that's the reason. But it's one of those albums where I don't know who's knocked it together, but there's no details or information about any of the people whose tracks are included on the album. And that song's very confusingly credited to Christine Perfect, which is Christine McVie's real name, who then went on to join Fleetwood Mac. But it's actually from an album by Fleetwood Mac called Mystery to Me in 1973, before Stevie Nicks and that lot joined in and they all had rumours and all that success. And I think it's great. It's got a lovely folk funk flavour, which is exactly exactly why I bought that album. No, it's not. I bought it because of the nudie people, all right? You've dragged it out of me.
I've got a little story about that, Steve. I was actually in a large London record store a couple of weeks ago. A couple of records I wanted to pick them up. Hadn't seen the covers. They'd both got naked women on the front. So I had to buy a third album to make it look like I wasn't a perv. So I picked up this third album, thought it was all right, didn't look at the back, got to the counter, there's a naked kid on the back of this third album.
What sort of album's that?
I don't know, but I'm not allowed back.
Rightly so.
BBC6 Music.
Closer to the music that matters.
Brilliant. That's what I do.
Yeah, this is why I don't go to the pub with you, because I don't want to hang out with, with Dippy Dave, or whatever his name is. Yeah. Well, I was going to say something far more offensive, and I had to clean it up, because we've already offended both Christians and paedophiles. I don't know. I forget who.
But you don't want to get them angry.
Yeah, well, exactly. They're a very vocal group, a very visible vocal group, the pedos. Okay, look, let's get back on the straight and narrow. And talking of warped love, each week I have been compiling. Is that what? Can you call it quite simply warped love? Is that sure. Appropriate? Have I got to be seen to be damning it?
This really is the last ever Steve show. Isn't it?
Exactly. I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, talking of talking of women, which I wasn't, but I am now, each week I have been adding a different track to our seduction CD, which is entitled Songs to Seduce Women by... I've realised this CD probably by now is full, and we're probably on kind of volume 2. I'm beginning to think... Someone actually did email in and say, are you ever going to actually sort of, put this together as a CD, or is it just going to go on and on forever?
That's the thing, because Steve Wright made a few bob, didn't he? With his old Sunday Love songs.
That's a good idea.
There's an angle there.
But, maybe we'll compile it together at some point, but in the meantime, I like to add beautiful tunes that would charm a chick if you were trying to lure her. Not in a wrong way, just it's very difficult. You can't say anything nowadays, can you? Right, Heather Mills McCartney, right, she's got to... Okay, anyway, so this one is... let just play the track and I'll explain it afterwards. I know women, Har, and what woman doesn't wish that she was in a old Doris Day, Rock Hudson romance, with the girl next door, she being the girl next door, of course, Doris Day, and her beau being some kind of closet homosexual. I don't know where I was going with that analogy, but there we are. Anyway, that I thought would be kind of appropriate for the soundtrack to the movie of one's life, and it's, of course, Astrid Gilberto, the woman who was best known for singing The Girl from Ipanema originally, and that's her 1965 recording of The Gentle Rain.
6 Music. It was the year the Berlin Wall came down.
And one engineer has literally started hammering into the Berlin Wall.
The year The Simpsons entered the world. And the year that Madonna did some very naughty things in her video for Like a Prayer. All day tomorrow, we'll be transporting ourselves back in time for the class of 89. 6 Music.
Well, 89 sounded like a good year there, didn't it?
It must have been amazing.
Oh, it was great days. I can't believe I missed it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was doing that year.
Maybe next time.
But did you... Another little clip there of the guy reporting on the Berlin Wall coming down, which was one of the... You expect it to be kind of somehow really powerful and punchy, but it just sounded like a man there is taking a hammer to the Berlin Wall.
It's one of those things, it takes longer than you expect.
It does, doesn't it?
It's not like on Jim Will Fix It, where the kid gets to hit the plunger and the big tower, the big chimney comes down. They just took it apart.
He's taking the sledgehammer now. He swings it makes very little indentation. You're gonna have to go, oh, this is gonna take him a couple hours. Oh, and just watch everyone there, how he's bending his legs there. Be careful, you could easily do your back in if you're taking there any large kind of oppressive wall.
It's one of those where you'd probably been sat in watching it, you might have got a few beers in, you know, some crisps, and after 20 minutes you say, mate, so come on, let's go to the pub, we'll catch your highlights later.
Exactly, yeah. And of course, that's the problem, you come back, it's just rubble. I can't believe we missed the best bit. I don't believe it. But I remember watching when Mandela came out of prison, and it was Mandela coming out any minute now, and I was sat there, it was interminable, because it was just watching some prison gates for ages, because I assume there was a bit of admin you had to do in there. I've seen a lot of those prison films, and they've always got to march them, you know, with their clothes from the cell. Yeah. They've got to give them back their watch and everything. It's all in plastic bags. And he's obviously got, presumably, that, you know, a lot of that stuff's quite unfashionable now, because he went in there, in the sort of 60s. So, you know, I don't know if he's had to, they've probably thought about, you know, giving him a new suit to, you know, because he's coming out, he's got all the world's press on him, so he probably had a while kind of Trini and Susanna style coming up with what he's going to wear. But I was sat for ages watching, it was so dull. I think I just switched over to probably Kilroy.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it, now with sort of our news, it's happening more and more, because the guys who came back from Iran last week, it was wall-to-wall coverage, and like, yeah, here's the plane in the distance coming in with them on it, they've got off it, they're going back on the plane, here's the plane taking off again, nothing else in the world is happening, we're just going to follow this, and some poor sod's got to do the commentary for the whole thing, and he's got to talk constantly.
At one point they were in a helicopter, and I just heard, it was just on News 24, it just had a shot of the helicopter, and it said, the helicopter taxiing. Yes, helicopters do taxi. They do taxi, people. It was extraordinary. It's so dull.
It's just a chance to show off your knowledge about everything. Really.
But we've got an expert in now. You're an expert on runway tarmac. How's the tarmac going to feel at the moment? Well, I mean, it's you know the pressure of the aeroplane on top of it will be quite substantial, I imagine. Thanks very much indeed. It's so boring because it's that thing whenever they have a news, like if a bomb or something goes off in a street, and there's just endless shots of kind of police cordons. The cameras can't get anywhere near to the actual thing, and all they do is they think it's news now just to interview punters. Yeah. Well, you were in the area. Yeah. I was just getting a newspaper. Did you see anything? Oh, I didn't really know. I mean, but there's a lot of noise. There was a lot of noise.
What do you think? Oh, it's terrible.
Exactly. Yeah. It's always opinion.
People on the scene think it's terrible. Yeah. What do you think?
And it was, of course, the band that introduced us to the likes of Neil Young and Stephen Stills. And for what it's worth, was a sort of song that became an anthem, really, for a lot of the disillusioned youth of the late 60s who were very vocal and proactive and politically motivated. And I always feel very ashamed that my generation, I'm 30-odd now, my generation, I think, we're always very apathetic politically. I've never really done anything of any worth with my life. I've never had a sit-in. I have never been out with a placard. No. Harry, ever done anything that you're proud of?
Nothing whatsoever. It was one of my big disappointments about university. I didn't go to a particularly good university.
It was one of the
shameful. It's one of the new universities. It used to be like a badminton centre or something.
Right, yeah.
But essentially...
A newsagent.
Yeah, but when I got there, I still thought there'll be this sort of grassroots activism stuff. But there was nothing. No one really cared about anything. I went along to one of the sort of debating society things once. It was rubbish. It was absolutely appalling.
It's normally, nowadays, it's a debate about, you know, who's better, Aguilera or Spears. It's that sort, you know, it's that kind of, you know, let's inaugurate Kermit the Frog into the university. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but the only time I ever had a run-in with the man was when I was at university, and I, of course, went to Warwick University, which is very near where you went in Coventry. Yeah. And I used to have a few nights out in Coventry, which is a bit of a dump. I don't want to slag anyone off who lives there. No, come on, it's the ghost town, isn't it? Famously.
Yeah, but they've rebuilt it. It's nice now.
Oh, have they? I haven't been for a while. But there's, as you might expect, a statue of Lady Godiva in the city centre. Godiva, of course, famously rode nude. Did she actually do that, or was that just a myth?
No, she did.
Yeah. She rode nude through the city centre, and so obviously that's the only thing for which they're proud, and they have a giant statue of the naked Godiva. Drunken one night after some student hijinks, I naturally felt it was hilarious to climb the back, or climb on the horse and sit behind Godiva.
I'd imagine the first student ever to have done that.
The first student ever to have done that. The first student ever to have comically fondled her artificial stone breasts. And I'm there thinking this is the funniest thing I've ever done. Oh, hang on, who's this? It's only a couple of the boys in blue.
The Fuzz.
They say, it was, as we call them, the Fuzz. And I thought, oh, God, here we go, here's the man, ruining our fun. He told me to climb down. I climbed sheepishly down. I'm not a person who's naturally brave when confronted by authority of any kind. I crumble. And he said, why'd you do that? I said, because that kid told me to do it. It was true, because the other guy had dared me to do it. I went, yeah, it's him. And he went, would you... And he used the classic. He used the classic, oh, I'm sorry, if he told you to jump off a cliff, would you do it? And I thought I was really rebellious, because I went, probably. I thought, oh, yeah. And,
Mr. Tough
of course, then he got out a small notebook. I thought, oh, God, here we go. But I got away with a warning, don't worry. But there's something really embarrassing and shameful about being told off when you're essentially an adult.
Yeah.
There's just something really cringeworthy about it.
They're really good at it, aren't they, the police?
They're incredibly good.
They just make you feel so small. They're like proper bouncers should be.
They're like what bouncers should be, exactly.
Because my only ever run-ins with the police has been when there's been a big crowd, someone I don't know has done something stupid, I'm a mere passerby, I'm asking what's going on, and they talk down to you, Steve. They talk down to you. I don't want to get in trouble with the police.
No, sure.
I love them. They're big, tall, lovely men and women, generally. But they tend to... You just get caught up in stuff, even when it's not your fault.
Yeah, but you're a bit of a smart aleck, aren't you? When you've had a few drinks, you start getting a bit mouthy and making kind of clever remarks, which a few times have almost got us beaten up.
Maybe one day I should come in drunk to do the show and see if I get into trouble.
I think you should. What would be ideal is if you got taught a lesson by someone in the street once for your back chat.
Yeah, it's probably well overdue.
Because you see, I'm happy to slam the likes of Donny Tourette here in the studio when I'm sort of bravely surrounded by these bouncers, P. Diddy style. But out in the real world, I keep my mouth shut. The worst one for me. It's your time again to choose another choice for us on the Steve Show. 6 Music with me, Stephen Merchant. What have you got for us?
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I've got some Husker Du for you. This is from their last album, which I think was in '87. A little bit of musical history for you. Without Husker Du, you wouldn't have had the Pixies. Without the Pixies, you wouldn't have had Nirvana. Without Nirvana, you wouldn't have had Stiltskin. without Stiltskin's singer, Genesis couldn't have carried on without Phil Collins. Now they've got him back, it's all okay. So basically, you've got Husker Du to thank for Phil Collins rejoining Genesis. But this is a splendid track off their final album. It's called Could You Be the One? Announcer for the BBC 6 Music Steve Merchant show. Sam in the West Country complained earlier because we said that basically scum used the megabus. But I think you said that there might be all kinds of scum on the megabus. She's just said that her and her young son go up to London to visit museums and art galleries, and you've just called him scum. I don't think that was the intention. We should point out that scum also use trains, their own private cars, planes, and some of the most horrible people you'll ever meet are in the first class section of airplanes.
That's very true, as I can attest, as I'm being handed my free glass of champagne. No, of course I apologise. I was being flippant. I have to say that having never travelled on the megabus, I can only, I judged it unfairly based on the fact that you can get to, I don't know where it is, kind of Paris for 80 pence. But no, I'm sure it's an excellent way of travelling. And obviously, if you work for Megabus and you're a driver on Megabus, then I apologise sincerely. Although I have a terrible, terrible attitude towards bus drivers. I've never met a decent bus driver in my life. Never met one that I liked, and I imagine they're all scum. And that's not going to get me in trouble.
Just as you're climbing out of the hole.
I know, straight back in the other side. I'm not going to talk about bus drivers because we could be here all night. You want to play the top of the hour thing?
And then do the third.
Okay, all right then.
BBC Matters.
Can I just apologise now to all bus drivers listening? Please do not get in touch with us. It was a foolish remark that I made in an attempt to show off and saying rock and roll is not big, it's not clever. I take that back. And if you are a bus driver, thank you for listening. Thank you very much. And also thank you for your great work. And sometimes, all I'm saying is sometimes I've got on a bus and you've been a little bit surly. And it's not my fault that you chose such a wrong job. I'm joking, of course I'm joking. I'm being silly and flippant. Of course I am. Don't be sick. Don't, for goodness sake. I'm just mucking around, of course. It's great. No, it is. I'm not. I'm being flippant. I'm being silly and I'm joking.
Can we do marks? Can we do marks?
Yes, by all means. Of course I'm being silly. I'm trying to be naughty and outrageous because, I feel that's what people listening to 6 expect. But of course it's not. They actually, they expect decent new music, such as this next track that I've dug out of the pigeonhole. It is a Swedish duo called Hello... do you think it's Safe Ride or Safe Ride? Hello Safe Ride?
Safe Ride.
Hello Safe Ride. Oddly enough, I think they did get their name from an oddball bus driver. No, seriously, I'm not joking. I read that on their website. Anyway, Swedish duo Hello Safe Ride, and they've got a forthcoming single called I Was Definitely Made for These Times, which is very, very good. But I'm not actually going to play the B-side because it just charmed me. It's called The Quiz. Never slap anyone.
What about bus drivers?
Well, I was just going to say again, bus drivers, can we please stop going on about them? All right, because they are good people doing a difficult job, so please stop slagging them off. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Good night. Oh, I just feel like every week I get in trouble. Every week there's someone that I offend, and I don't mean to. It's just that I get so relaxed, and I just speak like I would at home, which is, of course, me just being offensive about everyone. So, yeah, I do apologise if you're listening and I've offended you in any way. Let's have one more tune. Let's just kind of relax, just chill out, and we'll come back with more stuff. From the album Don't Breathe a Word, that's Kevin Tister's Red Terror and Pretty Please. It's a Steve Show, BBC6 Music, with me, the consumer's friend, Steve Merchant. And we were talking earlier about my recent attempt, someone recently attempted to con me, and Rufus, now you're going to offer more public service broadcasting with yet another warning story.
It's a property scam story, Steve.
Oh!
Yeah. A few years ago, some friends of mine and I were looking for a flat to rent, and we saw Too Good to Be True, a little Muse house.
Is that what it said in the
Park.
advert? Too good to be true.
It almost did, and actually that's one of the themes of this short story, is that the extraordinary lengths to which this con artist went to kind of push it, kind of go very close to obviously being revealed as a scam artist. So we turned up at this place, lots of people looking around this house in Belsize Park, a sauna it had, little library, 2 or 3 bedrooms, gorgeous house, ridiculously cheap rent. We were like, wow, and there were loads of people shown around at the same time, which if anyone's had to go through that is a really horrible process, because you're all trying to get the estate agents to go, yes, we're very interested. Anyways, of course, everyone was interested because it was so cheap. But the woman showing us around had a really badly fitting wig, a kind of blonde wig.
Wow.
And she said, well, I won't give you my business card, but I'll give you my associate's business card. His name was Mr. Steele, with an E at the end, which happened to be the name of the street the Muse was on. Okay.
Brilliant.
So query number 1 was the wig. Query number 2 was the fact that this man's name is the same as the street. It's almost if he was saying, let's just have a laugh. Let's just, because the business cards were printed in one of those, like, service station things, you know, really cheap, kind of greying. If you rubbed it, the ink would come off. And it said...
so they were there going, right, we need to come up with some business cards for the Steele's Muse House con.
Yeah,
what can my name be?
Yeah.
Muse? No, Mr. Muse is weird.
Yeah. House won't work either.
Yeah.
So it was... And I think even his business card may have just said Mr. Steele as well.
Yeah,
Not even John Steele or J.A. Steele, just Mr. Steele. Which is how he would be referred to by the police. So we took this card away with us, and then from then on we had frequent phone calls. Often he didn't answer his phone, or it made a funny sound, but we left endless messages. Yeah, really interested. He rang us back kind of once a day saying, listen, you guys are really in the front run. I do need cash as a deposit though, because everyone else is talking about banker's drafts. If I've got cash, the place is yours. We're like, oh, great. So I went to the bank, got out £1,300 in cash. Ooh. And he said, tell you what, best off we just meet in a cafe and hand the money over, and then we can... And I what, signing? Yeah, you sign it. We'll sign that. All the contracts and tenancy agreement. Don't worry about that. Just bring the cash. And eventually we thought, this is a bit strange. We'll go to his office, which was 13 East Eaton Square, E-A-T-O-N Square, in Sloane Street. So we went along, we were walking up and down the street, and some bloke said, you look for number 13? We said, yeah. He said, doesn't exist, mate. There isn't a 13 Eaton Square. We went, oh, because we've got it. He said, yeah, you're the 10th people we've seen this morning.
Oh, man. Imagine if you had turned up at the CAF and he'd been sat there with just a couple of suitcases, you know, and some plane tickets. Yes. You caught me. I'm just off the airport on holiday. Yeah. You've been so lucky. Just need the £1,300. I wonder how many people fell for it.
Well, if we were the 10th people, I reckon he probably took maybe 5 or 6 and then eventually thought, oh, I'm getting rumbled here, and then ran or something. But
so do you think that that the house was someone else's that was living there?
I think it was just a rental property, and he was he got the keys because he was renting it, or maybe he was I don't know how he did it, but apparently it's quite frequent. Or what some people do apparently is they get the deposit of everybody, and then they rent the flat across the road so they can watch when everybody arrives on the morning of the tenancy agreement. Right. 5 different people, all with matching keys, going, no, actually it's my flat. No, it's my flat.
Wow.
And they sit there and watch while eating a kind of...
They cackle, filming it for You've Been Framed.
Yeah.
Wow, that's extraordinary.
That's a great scam. Which is quite elaborate. The one where you got caught, Steve, it just sounds like that you're on a list of mugs somewhere and you get phoned up every so often. Someone else on the list of mugs is James, who's texted in and said, someone called me up asking how many TVs I had in my house. Naturally, I proudly told them, and later that night there was an attempted break-in at my house.
What? That's extraordinary. That's remarkable. I'd like a little bit more detail on that, if he can give it to us.
Yeah, James, text back with more...
We want more. There's so many other questions to be asked. You know, were they at home? Were they kind of slightly sheepish when they kind of ding dong? He answered the door. Oh, damn! I can't believe it. You're the guy with 3 TVs, right? Yeah. Okay, never mind. Because I always remember there was a guy near we went to school with. I remember, and he got caught in his next door neighbour's house, stealing stuff from them, and they went, what are you doing? And they said his name, and he went, I'm not, Joe. And they went, well, you are, because you live next door. We know you. We've known you since you were 10. He just ran off down the garden. Brilliant. What a prat. What a bloody prat. Okay, well, I've appreciated that, Rufus. I've appreciated you, Harry. But what I'm really going to appreciate is your musical choice.
More new music from me this week, Steve. This was released a couple of weeks ago. Darren Hayman and the Secondary Modern. The track's called The Wrong Thing.
Harry's Choice on this week's Steve Show. What was it again, Harry?
That's Darren Hayman, ex of Hefner, whose new venture is called Darren Hayman and the Secondary Modern, and that was called The Wrong Thing.
Thank you very much indeed. Keep your con stories coming in. I've of course been con several times. I'll get to some of my other con experiences after the news. Sammy, you've got a light con, but keep it, save it, brew it, and obviously keep them coming in. 64046 stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. We have to go to the news shortly. Don't forget, there's still live music to come from Duke Special. We'll play you this tune from Zeep. Here's Keep an Eye on Love.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell people, or will I, about the dancing?
I think you should talk about it, Stephen.
We were told, we were instructed, as is often the way in any kind of stag event, we were instructed to bring some leg warmers and a small towel.
Happens all the time.
I was nervous. We turned up at a dance studio. We were kind of, 15 of us, gentlemen, and were proceeded to be taught by one of Britain's premier Michael Jackson enthusiasts, the dance routine from Thriller.
Very nice.
It was quite extraordinary. We were in a dance studio, and he got straight in. No pleasantries. I've got an hour. Bam! He was straight into it.
Yeah.
We did the jump with the claw. We did the. Oh, it's much harder than it looks.
It really is.
Now, I was dressed up, looking good. Didn't know where we might end up on a stag night. Possibly a strip club. Wanted to look classy, for the ladies. So, what was I going to do? I'm not going to dance in a shirt off, straight away, stripped to the waist.
No one wants to see that.
A lot of other men did the same. And I'll tell you, with me with my shirt off, I'm like the living dead. So it was, and there again, I think there may even be footage of that, mobile phone footage of that, but I don't want to see that popping up on YouTube.
I imagine you're translucent.
Yes.
So you can see your organs.
I'm very much like that. Yeah. But it's much harder, Ruth, than a lot of people are thinking.
It's Tony, the choreographer, very generously, the first thing he did was to just lower the Venetian blind over the glass in the window so that no prurient kind of dance geeks could look through the window and laugh at these stupid men running around. But if you look at the mobile phone footage, a lot of it is shot from the kind of waist up, and there were probably about 6 out of the 12 of us took our shirts off to avoid kind of drenching them with sweat, and it was very hot in the room. So some of the mobile phone footage just looks like
a group
6
of naked men
dancing badly to Thriller.
Some incredible, weird gay fantasy.
Yeah.
Of it was extraordinary. I consider myself one of the great dancers, alongside one of the most proficient rappers. But I have to say, even I was undone by the Jacko steps. It's much harder than you might think.
Why?
Because, you learn 4 moves, and you think they're separate
I think
moves.
you've missed my point, Rufus. Why?
That why.
That why.
That different why.
Are you doing this at the ceremony? Is it to frighten Melanie? I don't understand.
Is it the first dance?
No.
Oh, come on, hang on.
That would be
brilliant.
incredible.
What would be great would be all of the stags who did it with their shirts off, just advancing on Melanie.
Yeah.
Kind of quivering, holding her bouquet at one end of the dance floor, and all of us ding 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 ding.
Well, I think as you're having the ceremony at a church, we'll just dig a couple of makeshift graves. As she approaches on her father's arm, ding 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 ding.
Up I come.
Up our arms shoot up. Through
Yeah.
Or maybe you could take her out first and reenact. Take her out in the car.
Yeah.
To reenact the opening
in the
sequence.
red and black kind of leather jacket.
Yeah,
and all
right,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
You walk her towards the church, ding, 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 but played on an organ, on the church organ. That would be fantastic, Ruth.
I do want hours in makeup. It's the only thing I really want to prioritise. I want to have proper zombie kind of, terrifying Thriller makeup.
Are you going to give a quick demo to the 2 guys here?
I might do, yeah.
Just do it for us now.
Right now, without any music? Or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just see what you think of this. I know this is not going to be on-air gold for you, the listener,
Well,
but
webcam fans.
Webcam fans will enjoy it. Oh, look at this. He's doing a great job. This is excellent.
Oh my God, the moves.
That's good.
Look at the anger. And, look at it.
Oh.
Look at it. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. I don't know if web camera's got a chance to glimpse that. I don't know if there's a chance to film that and pop it on the.
Film it.
We'll see how the show pans out.
To capture the floppiness of the hair, it's worth filming.
Absolutely, yeah. Listen, let's get some music on because that's what people have tuned in for. New bloody music. Yes, anyway, so we were going to perform live, but we got together a little sort of super group. Sammy was on bongos.
Yep.
We had one of Reverend and the Maker's guitar techs playing the riff. We had vocals from not only Jonah's Policewoman, but also the mighty Rufus, and a rap from yours truly, and we put together, with minimal practice, a quite remarkable version of Black or White.
Well, it was incredible because we did 2 spectacularly bad run-throughs, and Jonah's Policewoman had been scheduled to appear on the hub stage like 10 minutes previously. So they said, look, you've got to do it. You've got to do it now, otherwise it's not going to happen. And the third take was just right.
Just right. That's the one we laid down on acetate. That's the one you'll be hearing later in the show. And I haven't heard it since we busted it live. I think we're all... Am I right, Sammy? Are we all looking forward to this?
In a terrified fashion, yes.
Well, I have to say, I thought... I mean, this was not a joke attempt. This was straight down the line.
Straight, yeah.
We wanted to... the Reverend had been talking a little about sort of racial disharmony in the music business. We felt it was only right to try and balance that with a version of Black or White. My rap, I think you'll remember, in the early run-throughs, it was shoddy.
It was awful. It was.
Thanks for being blunt.
It was quite incredibly bad. Your timing was just completely off. You were speeding up, slowing down. I think you were nervous, which is understandable.
I was nervous.
And I very much took a role as very much the architect of the whole thing.
I'm very much a producer.
Yeah. I kept the whole thing together with some quite spectacular egg shaking.
Yes, that's true.
I was very much the Bez of the piece.
Yeah,
and I think it worked quite well.
But you offered me some good morale. You told me also how to keep in time, which was something I'd have thought I'd have picked up by now. Turns out no. Anyway, we'll let the listeners be the judge. We'll play that a bit later on. Yeah. Plus, of course, and I don't want this to turn into some sort of wacky local radio shtick, but some weeks back I did promise that I would cut Sammy's hair for her, and in return... That was a little treat for me. And in return, I have to buy you what? Some kind of tortoise?
Yes.
I have to buy you a tortoise.
Not some kind of tortoise, a good one.
An actual tortoise. A super tortoise, yeah. So yes, I'm going to be cutting Sammy's hair later. Again, it's not on-air gold, but webcam users may find it charming, and I'm sure we can record it on some kind of device and pop it on the web. But yeah, I look forward enormously. What was that nonsense, Sammy?
I just love it. It was Sunshine, Lollipops and Rainbows by Leslie Gore. It's mine and my mum's favourite happy song.
Well, you needed to cheer yourself up, I know, because I don't know how we got around to this a couple of weeks back. You were talking about how you wanted your hair cut off. I thought you meant sort of shaved off in a really hilarious way. That was what I was looking forward to.
No.
But anyway, for some reason, you also want a tortoise. So many demands. And I offered to buy that tortoise if, for kicks, I could cut off your hair. Because I have to say, I've looked at hairdressers over the years, and it looks easy. Yeah. It does look incredibly easy. This fact that you've got to go to lessons and classes and do training, I mean, come on. It's a pair of scissors. Yeah. You know,
some of them, like, have 2 different pairs of scissors, like, they do different things.
Yeah, right. Please. Hello. And I certainly, when I was younger, when I first went to the barber, he was great. All he had was a pair of clippers. Whatever, I went in there with a picture of Christian Slater. I said, can you make me look like that? Just clipped off my hair. Number 3 all over. That's what Christian looks like, he said. And most of the time, he was just peering out the window, and then occasionally lean out and, you know, some passers-by. Audrey! Still clipping my hair. I thought, surely focus on the head. But no, so anyway, as I say, I've got the presumption is that it's fairly easy. But I tell you, a man who may actually know whether it's easy or not is, Adam Reed. Round of applause for Adam. He's come in. Adam, you are an absolute pro.
I am.
You have cut the hair of some pretty big names, am I right in saying?
I have, yeah. I work with quite a few on a regular basis, which is good.
So they come back, so they're obviously pleased with the job.
Yes.
And so what kind of names, can you mention the sort of names?
Yeah. I've worked with Madonna, Uma Thurman, I do know Gallagher, Sophie Dahl.
Right.
Agnes Dean, so quite a few different people.
Agnes Dean, very much the haircut of the moment, as I understand it.
Very much. I unfortunately didn't do that. She had that done in New York, but I work with her when she's over in London. So.
Sure, yeah. So you're trying to take glory there for something which is not strictly yours. But no, like, it's amazing to me, isn't it? It's always amazing how sort of certain haircuts become voguish. I mean, famously the Jennifer Aniston one.
Absolutely.
In the early days of Friends. Do you remember that period? Were you working then? Was there suddenly a craze, or is that something that kind of is hyped up by the likes of the magazine?
Definitely. Everybody, if somebody has a cool haircut, everybody wants it.
Yeah.
I know the most recent probably was Victoria Beckham's Do.
Right.
Her little pob, which I didn't like personally, but that was the, popular one, and we had hundreds of people wanting that. So yeah, they do. And anything in a magazine people are going to want.
And why is it that sort of hairstyles, I mean, what kind of governs the certain vogue for things? Is there sort of, in the same way that there's fashion shows presumably every year, and the latest trends are sort of set by the top level designers, is that also true in the world of hair? Are you and Nikki Clark, coming up with something interesting in the lab?
We definitely, we try to come up with something different. So it always pretty much comes from something that you've seen in the past. So the bob obviously was a 60s haircut, and there are always takes on that. But we do try to come up with different things, and then it is pretty much based around celebrity.
Yeah.
So from a hairdresser's point of view, if you're lucky enough to do a haircut on a celebrity that then comes in vogue, you're going to make yourself a bit of money, which is good.
How many times have people come in and asked for the Steve Merchant?
Oh, all the time.
Is it getting pretty crazy?
We're just around the corner, so we get them in all the time. They're queuing.
It's getting pretty berserk, I imagine. Yeah,
it's
I can well imagine. I've realised my hair is slightly thinning now, so what I'm actually cultivating is a sort of pre-comb over.
Fantastic.
You'll notice I'm sort of sweeping it forward so that when I do actually go bald and I have the comb over, I can just be like, well, I've always had the comb over. I'm not bald at all. No, I've had that since I was 33. What are you talking about?
I know.
It's quite. It's a long game I'm playing. But as I say, I presumed it to be fairly straightforward cutting someone's hair. Are you going to tell me now it's not as easy as I thought?
I am. I'm quite offended by your first comments.
Okay, all right. Okay.
But yeah, it's not easy at all, and I've probably got about 12 pairs of scissors in there. So,
wow.
you know, they are tools of our trade. It isn't easy at all. So I'm hoping you're going to make her look quite pretty after.
Well, I mean, I can't make her any prettier than she already is. Of course, she's already a beautiful lady, but certainly I feel, give you something a little bit funkier. What sort of look, Sammy, are you going for? What would you like the hair to look like?
my phone.
Rufus, could you, using your benefit of language, could you summarise for people who don't know what Sammy's hair is like currently?
It's a beautiful, beautiful colour. First of all, it's a very clean, beautiful kind of ash blonde, kind of honeyed colour. She's got a fringe which goes up and down depending on the season, but at the moment it's just kind of covering her eyes. Yes, it comes down to about halfway down her back.
Rufus there has cleaned up what he was going to say.
It was a visual guy.
And you've handed me here, Sammy, a picture of someone, and this is someone you've seen in a magazine that you would like your hair to look like?
I'll be honest with you, I took that picture of a magazine that I wasn't prepared to pay for.
Well, so you were thumbing through in a newsagent.
Well, I bought one already, and they're really expensive hair magazines, and I only need one for one picture. And then I saw that, and I thought, oh, I'm not buying another one. So I just took the picture sneakily and ran away blushing.
Wow, what, in a newsagent? Was the man shouting at you?
No,
it's not a librry. Oh, we've all done that.
It was fine.
We've all done that in newsagents, not necessarily, of course, looking at the hair magazines. But I don't know what you're sighing, Jude. You've just made up your own story there. I was thinking, of course, of Auto Trader. So looking at the photo that you've chosen, well, actually, probably better if a professional can describe that. Maybe that, because I don't know exactly, maybe got a particular professional term.
Again, it's a graduated bob.
A graduated bob?
Yeah.
I'm going to make a note of that.
Texture in. She's still got the fringe, which is nice, and the colour. She's going to be able to work, really well with the colour. But it's got a shattered edge.
A shattered edge?
Yeah.
I thought that.
So it's not a blunt bob, it's a shattered bob.
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the hardest, how hard would you say it is to give someone that haircut?
For me, it's not very hard. For you, I would say it's on the scale of about 11.
I love a challenge. No, I like a challenge. I like a challenge.
Definitely.
And what's great about a challenge, it's particularly good a challenge, I think, when you yourself are unscathed at the end of it. It's always nice to see other people suffer for your own amusement. We will get chopping after we've heard from Pavement. Cut Your Hair, of course, from Pavement, a beautifully appropriate tune, as that's exactly what I'm about to do for Sammy. I mean, I don't know how much it would cost normally to have someone of my calibre cut your hair, but I'm going to do it for the price of a tortoise. It's weird that I'm actually paying for the privilege, but there we are. This is probably a bad moment to mention that I've got the onset early signs of Parkinson's in the right hand, so I should have probably mentioned that before, but life's cruel. You make your bed, and So, yes, I'm going to step from the microphone. I'm going to step into the salon. I'm going to ask Harry and Rufus to give a sort of Olympic-style commentary. Harry's already set the camcorder running, so hopefully we'll pop this on the web, should you in any way be interested. As I say, I'm not doing this radio show for your amusement. I'm doing it for mine. And, so this could be quite dull radio, but it's going to be highly entertaining here in the studio.
Oh, I wish me mum was here to hold me hand. She's held me hand through some horrible things. Tooth removal, nose piercing, blood taking.
Would you like someone to hold your hand?
Yeah. It's gone clammy.
Oh, well, I'm going to pick up the scissors from Adam. Now then, it's the pointy end, isn't it, that's sharp?
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. Now,
when you hold a scissor as well, you hold it here and here, so you've got a good balance. So with the shaking, you go straight in.
Okay, all right. So what's the... Sorry, and just show me that again. So...
That finger,
That finger there, okay.
Oh, I'm starting to cry.
Can't help but notice, Steve, that you've got one hand holding the microphone to broadcast to the nation and only one hand controlling the scissors.
Yeah, you're
and
right, that doesn't
Sammy's
seem
hair.
Yeah,
practical.
Steve, just for the next minute or so, the
It's all
nation
right.
are less important than my hair.
Well, I don't think that's true. Now then, so, firstly, Adam, what am I going to do? We've got here Sammy's hair, as I say, it runs down to the back of her neck. We've got, it's been combed.
It's been combed. We've actually tied it in a band because what we're doing, I know that the hair's being given to charity after, so that'll mean we can hold it. We're going to go above the hair, above the band, and what I've done is pulled it down slightly because then we're going to put the shape in after. But what I'm going to need you to do is go in above the band. You're going to have to do it tight because hair en masse is pretty thick.
Pretty thick.
So it's gonna, if you put the microphone, you're gonna actually hear it chopping into the hair. which is
Really?
quite
Wow,
nice.
this is extraordinary
I like
radio.
this noise myself. Strangely.
Oh, you hair pervert.
Did you get a weird kick from the sound of hair being cut?
Yeah, don't tell anyone that. My clients, I'm going to be empty tomorrow. But it's a nice sound. It's a nice sound of the scissor as well. It's got a bit of a good
All right,
chop.
well, here we go. So I'm going to be I'm just going to start simple trim, and I'm just going in, I'm just hacking in,
Steve,
is that right?
just before you do this, don't forget my dad is a scary man.
I love the fact that Jude is actually holding Sammy's hand now. Like someone who's got a fear of flying, or...
This is a big thing. Here we go.
So really...
Miking the hair.
Oh my god.
Wow, this is cool.
Oh my god.
Is that, am I doing okay?
Here, yeah, let me show you and then you can take over.
I've made a good
Made a
incision.
good incision, but really...
Flipping heck.
Let me just finish off.
That's a really good...
I know what you mean about the noise, though. Yeah, it's like cutting through a rope.
That's big.
Oh, why that should be so erotic. Oh, look at those! No! Oh, Sammy, look! It's like a horse's tail! Look at that! Look! Look what I've done!
Look what you've done,
Sammy, you already look amazing.
It really does.
You do, you look fantastic.
Really?
That is mental. Oh, some kids going to have such lovely hair. Oh.
I didn't realise you were going to be giving it away to charity.
Yeah, 2 people are going to have my hair, me and someone else.
So who buys your hair?
Nobody buys it, that's the point, it's for charity, so it's for children that have got, like, alopecia or they've had cancer treatment and they've got, oh, I've never felt my hair this far down my arm, this feels really surreal. Anyone want to touch
Great,
my hair?
I'm very
Rufus?
pleased with myself so far. Now, I'm presuming now that it's... Oh, it looks really good. I've done a fantastic job.
You
Oh
have
my
actually,
God.
It's very even, which is quite good. One of the reasons we pulled it back is so you get that shape, which is what she wants, and I think you've done a brilliant job, to be
Oh
honest.
my goodness, this is really
You're not getting
scary.
a job in my shop yet.
Oh, this is excellent. As I say, I told you haircutting was easy. I've already proven that. And that's it, Sammy. Thanks very much indeed.
You're going to leave me nice and lopsided. Oh, Rufus, you suit that. That's lovely.
I'm trying on Sammy's hair now.
Do you want it for the wedding?
Yes, that's a great idea. You can dress up as you.
Sammy, we've had step 1 of the haircutting. That's gone triumphantly. There's going to have, I suspect, be a little bit more precision work, which I'm looking forward to shortly. But let's have your second musical choice.
Well, I went for something kind of hair-related, so this is a smile, because I hoped you'd do a good job, and a ribbon, by Patience and Prudence.
Great. Well, as I say, last week we were at Summer Sunday in Leicester, and we had a good time. And Jonah's policewoman came in, and we had a chat with her. She also recorded a session for us, which we didn't have a chance to hear on the programme, but we're going to hear it now. After that, well, I mean, I think it's what everyone's been waiting for. I've not heard it yet, and I'm looking forward to it enormously. We'll be hearing our version of Black and White, Black or White. Is it Black or White? Black or White by Michael Jackson. We just put a little supergroup together when we were backstage. But first, let's hear from Joan, and here's me introducing her last week. Hi everyone, thank you very much for hanging around. Sorry, we've been faffing about back here, but I'm very pleased to introduce, recording a session exclusively for Six Music, Jonah's Policewoman.
Thank you.
Jonah's Policewoman doing her version of her own song Christabel at Summer Sunday last week, backstage in our little sort of tented hub. And there's a video on the website of that if you wish to check it out. There is, we're hoping as well, going to be some live footage of the tune you're about to hear. I'm genuinely excited. I think of all the things we've done on this show, this is the first time where we've sort of stepped, as it were, on the other side of the curtain. We've played a lot of great new music, and it's rare that we're actually involved with it. A little bit of hand clapping here and there with some of the sessions. But here we put together our own little team. I don't know why particularly. I think we were just in the musical vibe. It felt right at Summer Sunday. We found some bongos. which Sammy played brilliantly. Joan Vassar of Jonas Policewoman provided backing vocals and also took, I think, one of the verses. Rufus stepped up to the plate doing a song, I think, which was out of his range.
I'd like to say now that it is out of my range.
Yeah.
Particularly my range today, which is slightly lower than normal. And you'll notice, listeners, keen listeners will notice that I don't quite make the note at the end of every single verse.
Right.
But that's all part of the fun.
But it's a hell of an effort.
It's hell of an effort.
Really, you should have seen me closing my eyes.
Yeah.
We had guitar work from one of Reverend of the Makers gang, Tom Maker. And he did excellent work. He was on guitar, and Harry, you were on the shaky egg.
Yeah, I was. It was a challenging role. I was basically keeping the whole thing together.
Well, Harry was next to me on the shaky egg, and I looked to him as a sort of metronome.
Yeah.
And the vibes coming off him really kept me going.
Yeah, no, he was excellent with vibes. And obviously, yours truly providing the rap. So,
impeccable.
Enough, thank you very much indeed.
Nay, inscrutable.
Enough talk. Let's hear how it sounded. None of us have heard this, so we don't know. We just enjoyed the moment. Enjoy.
I took my baby on a Saturday bang. Boys that go with you, yes, we're one and the same. Now I believe in miracles, and a miracle has happened tonight. But if you're thinking about my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white. They put my message in the Saturday Sun. I had to tell them I ain't second to none. And I told about quality, and it's true either you're wrong or you're right. But if you think it's hurt my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white.
I'm tired of this devil. I'm tired of this love. I'm tired of this business. So when the going gets rough, I ain't scared of your brother. I ain't scared of no sheep. I ain't scared of nobody. Oh, when the going gets mean.
Protection for gangs, clubs and nations, causing grief in human relations. It's a turf war on a global scale. I'd rather hear both sides of the tale. See, it's not about races, just places, faces. Where your blood comes from is where your space is. I seen the bright get duller. I'm not gonna spend my life being a colour.
But tell me you agree with me when I saw you kicking dirt in my eye. But if you're thinking about my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white. If you're thinking about my baby, it don't matter if you're black or white.
Oh, that's lovely. Just to hear Rufus apologising to Joan there, a woman who's spent many years building up an extraordinary back catalogue of work. She's worked with the likes of Rufus Wainwright, and yet there she is, singing alongside another Rufus, Mr. Rufus G.W. What, Rufus, did you make of your performance? I mean, you were very much there at the centre. You were the guy putting your neck on the line.
Yeah, that was quite a difficult listening to that was quite upsetting. Particularly at the very beginning of the song where I really wasn't hitting those notes very clearly. I'm not much of a singer, ladies and gents. Had we had time, I would have liked to transpose it down a semitone.
Sure.
It was a galling and frightening experience. But by the end, I was hitting one or two of the notes pretty much correctly.
Considering that we had never performed together as a unit,
No.
we had one or two run-throughs beforehand. Harry, you have got a keen musical ear. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, I thought it was good, because like I was saying earlier, the first two run-throughs were proper appalling. I mean, they were horrible. You know, people around the stage were looking at each other with a real sense of dread. But that third take, man, we nailed it. We nailed it.
Sammy?
I enjoyed every inch of that.
Were you pleased with your own work?
I hope so. I think my dad might be critical because he is a super drummer.
I think anyone who's ever heard a record was going to be critical. but for those of us involved, and that's really what it's all
Do you know
about.
that's probably the most fun I've had in quite a while? And I've played with bands, and that was much more fun than them bands.
Oh, hang on, your microphone's going all.
Oh, no.
Listen,
Broke it,
I
Mum.
mean, I don't know what we thought of my particular.
Oh, Steve, it was amazing. You absolutely, you nailed it. You completely.
Everyone started clapping along when you
on a
started.
global
It's
scale.
a turf war.
Yeah, right.
Hey, well, you can mock the accent,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of people will have learned a lot from what I was saying.
Yeah.
Perhaps just ignore the accent, just listen to the words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your flow's impeccable.
Oh, hang on. You know, I mean,
Exactly.
that's a professional. He knows what he's talking about.
Your flow's impeccable.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, that's my own view on it. But anyway, well, we'll throw it out to the listeners, see what they made of it. But I think, considering we bashed it together, and if there's any way we could use it for charity, is there some way we could incorporate it?
Well,
for
we
charity?
did, one thing we didn't do, which I'm staggered, seeing as most people who form a band sit down and spend most of their time talking about it, is a name for a
I
band.
never think of a name.
Yeah,
You're
I thought of a
absolutely
name for it.
right.
That's
That's good. Well, let's not rush
Yeah,
into
yeah.
anything. We'll stew on that while we hear a musical.
I think that's the main aim.
Oh yeah, I love the fact he laughs at me like that was a stupid suggestion. Well, you're the guy making a computer into a crab, mate.
My brain hurts.
I don't understand how. Well, maybe we'll never understand. That's why we're on the radio, guys, and not a couple of boffins sat in front of a computer eating twiglets. And what do you hope to do once you've finished your studies?
I'm hoping to do a PhD next year.
Oh, you really don't want. You really want to avoid real life,
I
don't
really don't want to finish.
you? Are you living in shared accommodation, or are you kind of rich and you can afford your own place?
No, I share a room with my wife.
Oh, with your
and
what?
I've got a couple of housemates as well.
With your wife? Is this someone that you married sort of precociously young? Were you betrothed to each other sort of age 13, like Romeo and Juliet?
No, nothing as romantic as that. I met her during one of my many years out, and yeah, one thing led to another.
Is it a bit intense, though, living together in just one little room, I imagine? You've got the crab computer doing weird things in the corner. What does she... Is she a student as well?
No, she's well, she's just being pregnant at the moment.
Wow! Is it yours?
Yeah.
Good, well, you don't know. You can't be certain. I mean, you got a couple of roommates, you know, after a drunken night during Freshers' Week, who knows what could have happened. I'm just saying check. You don't want to... Because, you know, once you've made your fortune as the new Bill Gates, you know, you don't want some kind of bastard child inheriting your cash. Sorry, I don't know where I'm going there. I don't know why. I just thought we should try and be irreverent because it's Six Music, and I've ended up just insinuating that you're not the father of the child, which of course is nonsense. So I take all of that back. I do severely apologise. The crab thing
Now
just
you've
freaked me
mentioned
out.
it, I will get a test done when it comes.
I just think if I've helped one man, then I've helped. I don't know why it is. I'm just very, very cynical nowadays. It's, you know, I've heard about the 1 in 3 marriages ending in divorce. Sorry, again, I'm bringing you down. You're having a lovely afternoon, and I just feel like I'm a very cynical and depressed man. I don't know what it is. Sorry about that, mate. I don't know where I was going there. But listen, let's make friends again. And maybe you could tell me which tune you're gonna recommend.
Today I've recommended it. It's called Particle Man. It's by They Might Be Giants.
Okay. That makes sense. Of course, particles I kind of associate with computers. I don't know. I'm sure there's a particle involved somewhere.
You can't get Dave back on side, Steve. It's all too late.
Dave, I really am sorry about that. Oh, God. Listen to him. He's gone silent. He's laughing, but it's through kind of gritted teeth.
Hates you.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah, Particle Man. Now, They Might Be Giants is one of those bands that's kind of championed by the likes of Jonathan Ross and so on. I'm not really familiar with them. I know are they a slight novelty band?
They are. I mean, they're just really strange. I mean, the lyrics just never seem to make sense. I think maybe if you're on some Mong balls or something...
Some Mong balls, of course.
They might sort of have some sort of meaning, but it doesn't really matter. The song's just a fun and upbeat and great to listen to, I think.
I noticed in your email you refer to it as geek rock.
Yeah, geek rock. I found that out the other day, actually, and I thought it was quite suitable for the show.
You know, I mean, I'm going to take that on the chin because I've insulted you. But yeah, I think it's a bit rich coming from a kind of a guy who's trying to design a computer crab to call me a geek. But there we are. But okay, let's have a listen to Particle Man, and then we'll come back and I'll try and apologise more. The Wu-Tang Clan. Good effort. Thanks for joining in. Steve Show 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant, and my gang of cronies. Still to come, live music from Polly Scattergood in the hub. Rufus, we were talking about your fan mail, and you mentioned that you had one last letter that you'd like to read out for us.
Yes. I don't know how much of an introduction to give this, Steve, but it's an impassioned letter, and I think written with tongue maybe slightly in cheek. I'm not sure. The writing is fairly extraordinary. Anyway, shall I...
well, perhaps you, as you say, it's quite long. Maybe I should give you a sort of gentle musical accompaniment, because I know you said that it was written to you whilst you were performing in Noel Coward's...
That's right.
Private Lives.
Yeah. Lovely. So, dear Rufus, please can you send me, if available, an autographed photograph of yourself, and I will try to get to see you in Private Lives. Though very unfortunately, I go with my cousin and his wife when I go to the theatre. I have to fit in with their schedule. I've really gone off going to the theatre with my cousin's wife as she falls asleep on purpose. It's very annoying and it's very ignorant. She completely spoils it. I can't concentrate. It's a wonder she doesn't get chucked out of the theatre. She really falls asleep. It's a wonder she doesn't fall off. My cousin and his wife are the kind of people who eat sweets all the way through a play. Why on earth can't they wait until the interval like other people, like all other theatre goers? It's really bad manners. It's a wonder they both don't get chucked out of the theatre for that. She isn't falling asleep, she's eating sweets. She often does both, though not often at the same time. If my cousin and his wife did go to see a play in London, though frankly there's more chance of Elvis shelf-filling in Tesco, my cousin's wife, she would have to be carried out of a London theatre on a stretcher because she would have fallen asleep that much. And she might not get the chance, as my cousin and his wife. They would eat even more sweets through a play in London theatre, and they would probably start a fight with the other theatre-goers. And they would keep telling them to be quiet, but my cousin and his wife wouldn't. They would probably even start a riot, and the riot police would be called to the theatre, and the riot police would storm the theatre foyer, startling the front-of-house staff. And the riot police would storm the auditorium, and some theatre-goers would start ripping up the seats. Obviously, fists would be flying, and some female theatre-goers would be hitting some male theatre-goers, and some female theatre-goers would be pulling other female theatre-goers' hair. Well, it's what some women do. And some female theatre-goers would be pulling some male theatre-goers' hair. Some male theatre-goers would have their theatre programmes rolled up, and they would be hitting some male theatre-goers on the heads with the rolled-up theatre programmes. And for a few seconds, the riot police would just enjoy watching the spectacle. Then some theatre-goers would then see the riot police, and they would start throwing ice cream tubs, packets of sweets, and theatre programmes. Well, bottles and bricks wouldn't be available, and from what I've seen on the TV news, that's what rioters use. At the riot police, and the ice cream tubs, packets of sweets and theatre programmes would hit their riot shields, and the riot police would wade in and would start hitting some theatre-goers on their heads, and blood would start pouring down the theatre-goers' faces, and the riot police would start dispersing tear gas, making the rioting stop, and they would start arresting theatre-goers, and some would point in the direction of my cousin and his wife and say, "It's them you should be arresting, as they're the ones who started it." Which would only be fair and reasonable, but knowing the police, they wouldn't. And my cousin and his wife, they would get away scot-free. There'd be a fair amount of blood on some of the seats and on some of the walls. I don't know the police, by the way, I'm just writing as I phrase. I'm only joking there about my cousin and his wife, though on the other hand. Though I will try and get to see you in private lives, so it depends on an unavoidable situation. I'm sure you understand. I do hope I can have an autographed photograph, and I look forward to your reply. And close an SAE. Thank you for reading my letter. Yours sincerely. P.S. I know that Danny LaRue knew Noel Coward. Well, I know a woman who knows Danny LaRue. I haven't met Danny LaRue. Paul Chapman, who is various monsters in Doctor Who, well, my cousin's wife knows his mum. I haven't met Paul Chapman. I just thought you might be interested to know.
Wow. That's extraordinary. That's absolutely extraordinary. And if Noel Coward had been alive now, surely he would have written a play called My Cousin and His Wife. Yeah. That'd be fantastic. What an extraordinary piece of work. And you say that was sent to you twice?
Yeah, it was sent to me twice. I have to say there were 5 people in the play, and he sent an identical, a word-for-word letter to all of us twice. And then, I don't know if he singled me out, but I got a third letter, just a short one, just saying, just wondering, I have written to you a couple of times, just wondering if you are getting these. You never quite know how much mail reaches its destination, he said, in large type.
Jeez.
So I have gifted him with an autograph photograph. I think it's the least
That's
he...
very sweet of you.
Yeah.
Wow. I would love to get the further adventures of Anonymous, his cousin and his wife.
Yeah.
Wow, what a remarkable letter. Thank you so much for contributing that to the show. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Scary.
Yeah.
BBC6 Music.
Britney meltdown.
Yeah, doing a bit of that, wearing odd socks, crying a lot, picking on the, not washing.
Now, Harry, of course, strong opinions on this because he works in a bank.
Have I not suffered enough? I go to work every day under threat of the sack. Bonuses, forget bonuses. You're gonna have to take your own drinks in soon. It's rubbish. And what, you want me to suffer even more? And what have I done?
No, it's your bosses. It's mainly your bosses.
It's not my bosses. It's like 30 people in the world who were doing this mental stuff that ruined it. And you can't do everyone who works in a bank.
Ooh, here we are once again, absolving himself of responsibility. Yeah. It's Nazi Germany all over again.
I was reading Peston's blog over Christmas, and some
Robert Peston being the economic editor of the
BBC, and some unwashed moron had sort of written into his blog and said, I couldn't believe it. My bank's supposed to be in crisis. I went down there. It's the same old bank manager. He's not been sacked. It's like, what has your bank manager got to do with the global economic crisis, you stupid, stupid idiot? and I'm afraid Rufus just put himself in with that lot.
Wow. So what would you like to see happen in 2009, which is unlikely but could occur?
I'd like to see people who are obviously going through tough times just give some more money to the bank so that I can have a bonus.
Typical. Once again, Fat Cat Harry talking and thinking only of himself. If you want to get in touch, any suggestions on things you'd like to see happen in 2009 which are unlikely but which could occur, you can get in touch.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk.
Who's the most unlikely person to have a Britney-style meltdown? Possibly Titchmarsh.
Yeah, maybe
I think
Forsyth.
Alan Titchmarsh just kind of maybe just maybe sort of what at the Chelsea Flower show, just ripping off all his clothes and just furiously doing something obscene.
It'd be quite
It's
fun.
quite unlikely.
It'd be quite funny to watch. I always think it's really, really good when celebrities get upset when we really want them to get upset. Like when Samuel L. Jackson was seen swearing on camera when he didn't get an Oscar. Do you remember all four of them on screen? And the Oscar goes to not Samuel L. Jackson, and he
Right.
did a big, swear
Yeah.
word. I think if Forsyth made it really clear about the knighthood thing, and just one day we just saw him in the streets tearing his hair off,
Well, yeah.
and running around, knighting himself.
Or on Strictly Come Dancing, just, excuse me, can I take a moment here? And just
Yeah.
looking straight into the camera and
Yeah.
just screaming obscenities at the Queen.
Yeah, Your Majesty, if you're watching,
Yeah.
would it kill you? Would it kill you? Because it's killing me. Because it's killing me.
I said it's on fire.
That's the trailer.
Fade to black, to be continued, ... question mark.
Well, it's only a trailer, Harry. It's not the whole film.
Yeah, I've given away the end.
Have you ever seen a film trailer before?
I don't go to the cinema much.
Have you ever seen a film?
Not many.
I think it would just end with you putting the phone down after that phone call and just looking up, and there's a noose just hanging. Will he, won't he? Harry, as a lovely reward, we're all looking forward to that movie. Your musical choice this week?
Yeah, well, I've been wanting to play some Horslips for a while.
Of course you have.
Massive Irish folk rock weirdo band from the 70s. And of course, it's St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday, so what better time to play some Irish music? This is Trouble with a capital T.
New single from their current album, Merryweather Post Pavilion. That's Animal Collective and the tune My Girls. Steve Show 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant. It was a day of mixed fortunes yesterday for my good self. I don't think I didn't win £10 on the... Oh, yeah. On the, the Grand National.
Oh,
Sorry, I
really?
should have finished that sentence, but what else was I going to win £10 on yesterday?
Well, the National Lottery?
Oh,
How did he win £10? Wasn't the winner 100 to 1? Did he put 10
well, no,
pence in?
I had each way on one of the other horses that came in. Yeah, that would have been sweet, wouldn't it? Oh, I got a little bit annoyed that I hadn't bet on that one. Just, annoyed with fate.
Everyone is. Everyone's walking around going, oh, I wish I'd have put 20 quid on that.
exactly,
But the whole
yeah.
point is that it was such a ridiculous horse to bet on. No one
course.
did. But everyone's going around just punching themselves in the face today, saying, oh, I wish I'd done it.
I know, I certainly did. No, that's fine. I picked up little winnings on one of the other horses. Because remember once I went to the horse racing with you, remember on Boxing Day, first time I'd ever been?
Yeah.
And I got all my tips from CFAX.
Yeah.
And I went on an accumulator.
Yeah.
Every single one of them came in. It was amazing.
incredible.
I made about £112 because I only bet about tuppence,
Yeah.
being a cautious gambler. So now I love the gambling. Oh, yeah, so I know. Gambling, gambling, drinking, drugs, smoking. Don't do any of it, kids. Anyway, gambling, yeah, brilliant. But anyway, so I was obviously keen to watch the big race to see how I was going to get on. And now the fellow who won it, what's his name?
Little
Treadway. Unsurprisingly, Liam Treadwell was his name, right? Now, I was watching the race, and he won, obviously brilliant, glorious day for him. He's got some pretty poor set of teeth on him, right?
Really?
There's a rotten pair of teeth.
So
he's
those
got.
sugar lumps they give it.
But really, you know how they will look at a horse's teeth and to sort of inspect the quality of the horse?
Yeah.
Well, if they'd inspected Liam's teeth before the race, they'd have pulled the curtains round and shot him. I mean, do you know what I mean? It's kind of, man alive, they're grim. And I thought, oh, God, that's a bit poor. Keep your mouth shut, as you do little sort of trot around the paddock. Anyway, so comes to Claire Balding, who's the host. Bear in mind, he's on top of the world. He can't believe it.
Yeah.
Because he's just won the Grand National. And she goes, oh, yeah, Liam, well done, yeah. And he's like, yeah, thanks very much, yeah. She went, oh, open your mouth, show us your teeth. Go, you got some bad teeth, haven't you, Liam? On national TV, there's millions
Really?
watching. She's like, look at this, look at that. You can afford to get them done now, can you, after this? For the big win. His face. Man alive, talk about long in the mouth. Oh, it was...
But there's a clear benefit to having bad teeth as a jockey, because he obviously came from the back of the pack yesterday, roared right through the field, and if he just opens his mouth a little bit, as he's flying through, the wind whistling through, the cracks in his teeth just terrifies the jockeys ahead of him. They know he's coming. They can't do anything about it.
Well, that in a more in-depth interview in today's Sunday Times, I'm sure that's what he detailed. But anyway, so I was quite happy as Larry, thinking, brilliant, I've won a sweet tenner.
Yeah.
But flipping through the Guardian yesterday, looking in, and I noticed on the front it said exclusive photographs of the nation's best and most controversial DJs. I thought, hang on, I don't remember having my photo taken.
We're pretty
Skipped
edgy.
through. We're pretty edgy, as you know. No, didn't even see my face in there.
You kidding?
My face not in there. Couldn't believe it. Wogan's in there.
Legend.
George Lamb, it's all the big
Legend.
hitters. Legend. But nowhere to be seen. What's going on?
Extraordinary. Not even pictures of us as well. That's
None of me or my
extraordinary.
cohort. Not a single image of any of us. I don't know what we're doing wrong. I honestly don't know what we're doing wrong. Tell me now. Tell me what we're doing wrong. Aside from a poor show, what are we doing wrong?
Well, you're a pretty high-profile guy, aren't
High
you?
profile.
This is going at a reasonable time, It's
Solid
the
time.
weekend. People are sat at home listening to their radios.
Was it in order? Was there a top 10 or anything like that? Because if
I
you
don't think
take
there was a
something
top
from
10.
each of the key DJs, we could
Well, this is
possibly have
what
the
I'm
best show
wondering.
ever.
Should we just steal all the? Because what does Moyles do? He's a bit naughty.
Mm-hmm. He
Talks about
insults a lot of
boobs.
people.
Yeah. Shut up. You're a woman.
There you go.
All right. So that's
He does
done.
get up very early though, and that's not.
He does
something-
get up very early, but he'll have a good. What's he got in trouble for recently? He called someone gay when
Will
they
Young,
were gay.
yeah.
He accused Will Young of being gay.
Well, I think it was more he made fun in a kind of hackneyed 70s styling.
Right, brilliant. Okay, let's make a note of some of this then.
Yeah.
Hackneyed 70s. All right, good. Well, there's plenty. There's loads of stuff we can do there.
Yeah.
We can just reduce everyone to a cliche.
Yeah.
I.e., if someone was from the north or someone had a vaguely posh accent, we could reduce them to a caricature. I don't know if you maybe have a wander around, see if you can dig up the magazine. We'll see who the big hitters were. See if we can glean anything from their styles. In the meantime, let's get.
Flower 2 are the name of the band out of Oakland, California, and this track's called I Woke Up in a Dream.
Thank you.
You got a little dish and you got a